You are tuned to the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. I'm Sooltime. I'm joined by Salliebug and Greenstego. Salliebug and Greenstego, good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody feeling today?
I am feeling better than I was when I first woke up. I stayed in bed too long and had a huge coffee headache because it took me too long to make the coffee.
I can relate to that. I
am much better now that first cup of coffee is in me.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling compared to last week?
Still pretty good. I mean, tired.
Exhausted.
It was a full week. Full week at work.
I think we got a cricket in the podcast.
A cricket?
A cricket. Or a katydid.
At any rate, so yeah, still pretty tired, still adjusting. I can't tell whether it's the whole new normal, so to speak, or if it's just my age or a combination of all of the above.
Mm-hmm.
But how about you, Stego? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay. This week was the last week that our school was 100% virtual. And next week, I will be housing a few students in my room all day. Just a handful.
Physically? A physical room, not a virtual room?
A physical room where they will be attending their virtual classes.
Oh,
so that
okay.
They have an adult present because maybe they didn't have an adult in the house during the school day, or maybe they thought that this would be better for their stable internet connection, but we're obligated to provide a physical space for them to be, and I am obligated to be the adult in that room.
The adult with the mask
starting on Monday.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's a mask, it's 6 feet, and it's a little bit of washing your hands often is what it is. So.
Yep.
And some disinfectant doesn't hurt.
Are you going to be teaching your class from that room? How's that going to work?
I am not expected to interact at all with the students physically in my room.
Oh.
That is the expectation.
Funny. Yeah.
That is the expectation.
Isn't that always the expectation?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to beat up the students. You don't want to interact physically with them.
So you're a hall monitor, a room monitor.
Mm-hmm.
All day?
Yes, at the same time that I'm expected to be teaching my virtual classes. So some of them will sometimes have me as a teacher, but I'll still be interacting with them virtually. I'll still be chatting with them, and they'll still be logging into the virtual Zoom meeting.
Gotcha. Wow. All right.
So that's real life. How about any Destiny action going on this past week for anyone?
Honestly, I can't remember.
I
think I did get on this past weekend, and I have played a couple of times, done a few missions.
You've been doing some Red War stuff, or some EDZ.
Yeah, with my granddaughter, and I think she has.
I think she has the Destiny bug.
She definitely has the Destiny bug. She just sent me a message saying, "I just played soccer at the farm." Like all of those things that like we did when we first started that were so exciting. So she's it's fun to have that same excitement interjected.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it'll be her first Festival of the Lost.
I know. I sent her a message saying they're doing a Halloween event. You're gonna love it, because she loves Halloween anyway. So it's super exciting. So, yeah, so doing some stuff with her. I think I did get on and do the means to an end, but I think we had done that before we even got on. Anyway, I don't think I've done means to an end for this week, but I'm kind of like, except for the pinnacle gear, because I do still need that cloak.
You need the class item, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I did 3 strikes. I did one of the things that you can get a pinnacle gear from, and I got like arms, but I haven't done the means to an end, or any other. So probably this weekend, that's what I'll do, is just do a few pinnacle activities to try to get that class item, and plug away at trying to get the catalyst. I'll tell you what I was working with when I was playing with my granddaughter. I was using Sweet Business, because shout out to Fractious Heart, who commented in the chat that Sweet Business is so much better with the catalyst. And it's like, oh, I think I actually have the catalyst to Sweet Business. I'll work on it. But it turns out it's pretty tough to get that catalyst, because you have to get 4. You have to it's not one of those ones where you just have to kill enemies. You have to do like 4 in rapid succession. So yeah, it's a little challenging. And of course, when I'm playing with my granddaughter, I don't want to like take all the kills from her either, because she's trying to level up, right? And so it's more just being support. So it's not really the ideal situation to try to work on a catalyst. But it's getting me used to the gun, so I'll be able to see the difference once I do.
Yeah, that's the thing with the catalyst. You really get a feel for how the gun works by farming it, and then by the time you unlock it, it'll you kind of notice how different it feels.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that's at least my plan, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, over here we did that very brief but sweet Hellsome quest. Mm-hmm. And we did the first leg of the Traveler's Chosen. We got Io checked off.
Oh, nice.
So just a brief, quick sign-in. Played a little Destiny.
That's kind of what I did. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've just been signing in a half hour here, maybe a 40-minute segment there. What I've been doing is trying to stock up on enhancement cores, because I deleted all mine a while back by accident. It was just one of those famous vault shift things where I was deleting stuff that was near the enhancement cores, and I just dismantled them all. And so I'm kind of low. I've been low numbers on that for many moons now.
You've built it back up.
I built it back up. I go to Spider regularly to get the, I get 4 from him. I go up to the 160 shards and then stop when I log in. And then I've also been doing this. I've kind of gotten obsessed with knocking out what is it? What are they called again? Sally, you go to the tribute hall and get those bounties to get the discount, opulence, something or another. You get these, they're tiny little bounties, and they all have to do with doing something without dying. So the strikes in Gambit are hard, because you could be, 49 out of 50 and then die from an unexpected somebody appearing behind you and obliterating you. And that's, I was like, forget that. And so I just do the ones, get ability kills without dying, or weapon kill, any weapon without dying. And then I go across. It gives me an excuse to go across my 3 characters and just play on my Titan and my Hunter a little bit as well. And that's easy to get. And you can do 4 max per reset, daily reset. So 4 max per daily reset. So I'll usually do 2 on my Warlock and then 1 each on my Hunter and Titan. Sometimes, if I have the time, I will combine that with some Banshee bounties to get even more enhancement cores. But I think, like Salliebug said, I'm filled up on enhancement cores now. I've rebounded at this point. And is somebody chewing celery?
Oh no, I'm playing with a little squishy there. Sorry.
Oh, is it a Rubik's cube? That needs oil. So yeah, I've stopped doing the Banshee stuff and just hit up Spider with one of my characters and then get those opulent bounties done. I'm going for the full discount Triumph. Why I picked that out of all of the stuff that's going into the content vault? Because it's easy. It's easy to do a 20-minute run.
Yeah, to have that in the background. I don't know. I just put it in our live chat. I kind of gave up on it. I looked at it and I realized and I don't really get on my other characters that often. And to the thought of, I don't know. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. It was a lot of work.
Fractious Heart mentions Harbor of Sorrow is a great place to get stuff done. I actually go there a lot for just the weapons or ability kills without dying. Actually, I go to, what's that little place we go to, Salliebug, where the Vex waves of Vex keep coming?
It's where the beginning of the Garden of Salvation raid starts.
Yeah, so you go as soon as you spawn into the Harbor of Sorrows. You go kind of to the right and then over a little bridge, and it takes you back into this other area. I forget what the name of the area is.
And then you got to go to the left.
Yeah, so you go to the left, right? It's where this.
Trying to describe it for our listeners is. You spawn in, and you kind of go down the road and keep to the right until you see that little bridge, and then you go through the bridge, and it gets you into like another area. And as soon as you're in that other area, you hug the left and go in through a tunnel, and then you're in that area, and you see the Vex Gate and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that area.
Yeah.
It's great for multi-kills. Oh my gosh.
It's great for multi.
That little Vex Gate is awesome, but I remember distinctly that first return Destiny 2 moon mission where you go back and you come at that same area but from the other way.
Right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the hive that storming the keep. On the moon, this alien fortress on the moon with this giant crevice. It's just nobody else could do it but Bungie. It's great.
Yeah. It again makes me excited for what they're going to throw at us with
Beyond Light.
With Beyond Light, but actually, Funny Bone just joined the chat, and some good.
It's my understanding. Good news. Full Moon Kitty just subbed to the channel. Shout out to her. All right.
And he has been doing Shadowkeep, so that's where he is in his Destiny.
But he's not doing the video game. He's doing the board game version of Shadowkeep, right? With the 20-sided die.
That'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Collector's edition.
Oh, yeah. With those little figurines of the hive. Oh, that would be so much fun.
That would be
a little board with all the points on it.
Is there a Destiny board game? Because if there is, I want it.
Oh, that'd be fun. I would be into it. I would definitely try that out. We still need to play
totally
our Call of Cthulhu game, Salliebug.
Oh yeah, we do. We need to get it. We tried to do it with just the two of us, and it was because it is so intensive. But I think it's funner. I think it's similar to like a Dungeons and Dragons type of game. It's not it's just not as intense or fun with just two people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you can't do it, but
is it like recommended for like 4 to 6 players or something?
Yeah, I think so. At any rate,
that's a good segue into you know what.
It's hard to have more people with COVID going on, so
that might be a good segue into the Festival of the Lost trailer we got.
Let's play it.
Let's
see if I can, let's see what
let's see if I can kick it up here. I'm still new to this streaming business, so bear with me. This is rated teen, so for our younger viewers and listeners, well, yeah. Okay, let's see if I can kick it up here. Where is it? Where'd that go? There it is.
Hello again.
Hello again.
Lots has happened since we last met. Make the most of this time while you have it.
Man, Eva means business.
Tomorrow is uncertain, but we always have today.
And that's it. Wow.
Still going on my. It's kind of poppy for me from this part, but
Hoppy Chop?
Poppy Chop.
Poppy Chop, yeah.
I love the rock and roll theme that they were going with.
Yeah, I do too. And honestly, I really, really want to get that Aldrin mask and do the 2001 Space Odyssey emote with the bone, smashing the bones. I definitely want to do that myself. That seems like it would be really satisfying, actually, to do that. So, and Eva Levante is just awesome.
Yeah, we'll be talking about her later on.
Yes, we will in our new lore segment. Later on, we'll be talking about her. For sure. Why does it do that? Okay. Let me see if I can... I hear that ratchet again.
Sounds like a duck.
It really does.
I think what happens, I have a different headset on
It's
today.
A mini duck call that Salliebug has going on.
Every time I do unless I'm sitting completely still, anytime I do any movement, it like rubs up against my jacket and causes that noise.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because honestly, what I thought was immediately after Sooltime started playing that Festival of the Lost trailer, he had a little quacky outburst.
I was imitating Salliebug's duck call, is what I was doing.
He did have a bit of a I don't think you want this up on the screen, Sooltime. got the wrong thing up on.
I'm working on it. I got the guide up now.
So,
were you surprised to see a guide, Salliebug?
I was kind of pleasantly surprised because you and I talked about it. And it's like, why would they put that up? This is like the fourth Festival of the Lost. I think the first one was not their first year of the release, but their second release, right?
Yeah.
Like in 2015 was their first one.
Right.
So this is their fifth one. So our thought was, why would they, why would they put in a guide? And then we realized that this may be the first one since the game went free.
Right. So they're assuming a lot of new players and a lot of people coming in and playing this for the first time.
Right.
It sounds so funny. It's kind of like a fourth host of the podcast, just hanging out, little rubber ducky.
Oh my God, I'm so
sorry. I wish I could add it to the overlay.
I wish there was something I could do for that. It's like every time I do any kind of movement. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a break. I'm going to pause my.
Wait, do you want to do a coffee?
Myself.
Do you want to do a coffee break now?
Well, I was going to. What I was going to do is go and get my other headset. It's just in the other room, so I'm just going to go grab that. So.
All right. So
we're not having that wacky thing. So you two carry on.
Yeah.
Talk about the.
We're going to talk about the cipher decoders
and Festival of the Lost, and
we're going to talk about the cipher decoders.
And I'll be right back.
We're going to talk about the cipher decoders.
Look, y'all, get ready. We're going to talk about the cipher decoders.
Amen, brother. Cipher decoders and haunted forest caches. Now, this was in the guide, and they mention it elsewhere. So, alongside a completion, and I think the cipher decoders are new. That's the one. That's one of the new elements, aside from having both the horror story and the Braytech werewolf at the same time. Yes. Completion rewards at the end of the Haunted Forest activities. Players will also find 5 optional caches available to unlock. These caches can only be opened using cipher decoders. This is new, I'm pretty sure, which can be acquired via random world drops and activity completions outside of the Haunted Forest. So they're expecting us to go get stuff outside of the activity to bring into the activity to open up the goodies in the activity. Each cache requires 1 cipher decoder to open and can contain legendary gear, random rolls of the Braytech werewolf and horror story auto rifles, masks, and Festival of the Lost shaders. I wonder if there's any new shaders. Probably not. Up to 5 caches can be opened per Haunted Forest completion. And then it shows the candy and the chocolate strange coin stuff that you can take back to and exchange for, I think that's how you buy the masks. And maybe some other drops from Eva, who's hosting. Please note, Festival of the Lost candy and chocolate strange coins do not dismantle individually. Okay, so you got to use them up. You don't want to dismantle them individually. Otherwise, you'll end up doing what I did with my enhancement cores. In the event that players choose to dismantle these items, their entire stack will be deleted. This looks the same, the weekly, daily, and additional bounties. The masks are new. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember an Exo Stranger mask. Maybe the Varix mask? But the Anna Bray, these masks look new to me.
These masks look new, and I'm fairly certain that the old masks will be available in the Eververse store. Probably for silver.
Yeah, and or Bright Dust.
That is their policy usually for these types of events, is that the old stuff can still be obtained, but the old stuff is usually available for silver, whereas the new stuff will all be available for Bright Dust and will be...
Yeah.
I seem to recall that. I may be making that up. Maybe somebody in the chat can back me up or contradict.
Speaking of the chat, let's just interact with them a little bit because I have not been looking at it since Salliebug went off the air.
All right, I'm back.
Oh, there she is.
And we're hoping that my other headset.
It's good to hear Funnybone giving us some feedback on the game in such a long time. He likes the Lost Sectors in Shadow
on the Moon.
On the Moon. I just went to the Dreaming City this morning because one of those opulence boon bounties was to do 2 public events on the Dreaming City without dying. Very easy to pick that one up and get it done. What else?
I think
Sallybug's mic sounds like a vinyl chair fart sound. I was thinking little rubber. I was thinking little rubber duck.
That's an improvement. So far, so good. I'm assuming. So far, just keep giving me the feedback, and one
I'm
of
a
these
little
days,
tardy
maybe
to
I'll
the
go
party
get
in the chat, but these are some good
decent
comments.
one.
So we were just talking about the cipher. Ciphers are a new element to it.
I'm thinking that almost, and Fractious Heart said they make some old stuff available for Bright Dust. And I think almost everything except for one finisher is going to be available for either Bright Dust or Silver at some point during the Festival of the Lost. I like that it's a full month. I think they extended it due to the fact that Beyond Light is arriving late.
Right.
But again, for the casual player, I'm so excited that it's going to be around for a whole month. Also because I like to decorate the house for Halloween, and we usually keep that up for a good full month. Let's face it, the Halloween decorations stay up until I'm ready to pull the Christmas stuff up.
Yeah, they do. We like Halloween around here.
It's just the way it works. So
we're big fans.
Yeah, so I'm excited that it's going to be around for a whole.
I'm starting to get hyped over this. I was on Twitter earlier this morning, and there were a couple people just excited about grinding for Bright Dust this weekend in order to buy Festival of the Lost stuff. And I was thinking, that's great. That's kind of cool that people get excited about it. I'm looking at the new exotic items, the Restless Shell, Tomb Rider, and the Rap Speed. The Mummy theme. Man, I'm going to have to watch The Mummy. I'm going to have to get out my Universal Blu-ray collection and start watching those old monsters.
Yeah,
I've been watching the modern. Some modern horror just to watch it, because I'm into all the old Hammer movies from the classic Universal monster movies. I like anything from the 1920s up through the 1970s. But I'm trying to watch more last 30-year.
And they're really good, but there's just something about Bela Lugosi and
it's
Karloff,
magic, right? It set the standard
magic time.
for makeup and mood and music and so good, that stuff. But anyway, I like the nod to classic horror that Festival of the Lost. And what we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to introduce a Sounds of Destiny segment today where we will talk a little bit about music for Festival of the Lost and how that's also a nod to, I think, classic media from days gone by. And then you've got the mods again, the Festival of the Lost mods, which used to be on the masks. Are they still on the masks? On the masquerader's helmet, the helmet, yeah.
Yep, and you have to have I think it's working like ornaments, and I think they introduced this last year, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get a mask, a specific mask from Eva. who's the vendor.
The masquerader's helmet, right.
And then once you get that, you earn the different ornaments, and you can put the different ornaments on that masquerader's helmet. So,
my hype for this is bittersweet, and maybe Stego, you can relate to that in the sense that I can't wait to get into it again and the tradition of it, but we know that we're going to be busy during Festival of the Lost with remote learning and everything that we're doing in our day jobs. And I wish...
Yeah, and that's kind of why I was saying...
we had a week vacation in here.
I'm thankful that we have like a full month to dive into it.
Yeah.
So that way we can if we can't get the weekly bounties and all that done, if we can get on and do a little bit of it every now and again. Plus, it's nice because, as a casual player, we've even gotten into a point where, besides trying to catch up and do some of this other stuff that we hadn't done yet, it's giving us that opportunity to have a reason to hop on and do just one or two things. Well, let's just do a run or two through the haunted forest, because that's the amount of time we have, or the amount of energy we have to do like a 15 or 20 minute thing, as opposed to getting involved in doing like an hour and a half.
Yeah, the mic is good now. Bella Lugosi. You refer to your cat as Bella Lugosi.
That's awesome.
That's sweet. I gotta say, I just noticed something on this Festival of the Lost guide that they provided, and that's that you don't have to unlock those perks on those Festival of the Lost mods. They just activate as soon as the mod is equipped. But do you have to get the mods? Do the mods drop from the... Once players have purchased the helmet, they can equip masks as ornaments and apply Festival of the Lost armor mods.
I think those mods are available immediately. You don't have to purchase them.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Okay.
And then you have the choice. I'm pretty sure it's the same as in previous ones, where you just have the choice.
Right.
Of which direction you want to go. Stego, which one do you usually do?
Oh, I can't remember right off the top of my head. I want to say Vampiric.
That's the one I do. I do Vampiric Touch. Significantly increased damage to challenging enemies. Precision kills trigger health regeneration because you want to stay alive. Increases the drop chance of heavy ammo on kill. This is just so good. And then the higher purpose, it gives you damage resistance while airborne.
I don't try not to jump anyway.
They all give increased damage. Oh, and the energetic assassin is precision kills grant grenade and melee energy, but you also get increased damage to terrors as opposed to enemies.
Yeah, so all three of them give a damage bonus and an increase to heavy ammo.
Yeah, the heavy ammo kills on all of them. So,
and then, but each of them has like a specific type of damage bonus, and then like some extra random quirk. So I don't usually go for that airborne one because I usually focus on the fact that I either get stuck on those challenging enemies in the branches of the haunted forest.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes those
they can be
those
nasty.
Major knights can be nasty.
The terrors, I
the
think
terrors can be
terrors, right?
Yeah,
the terrors at the bosses. I love those boss rounds. I'm pretty sure those ones are the terrors, and those are. Yeah, those are very. I mean, you just want to melt them. So that's obviously nice to have 1 to 2 people with those perks.
So if I were to break this down, I would say maybe I don't know. Now, I like Vampiric Touch is sort of the generalist one. The increased damage to challenging enemies, whatever that, so it's kind of a generalist one. Higher purpose would be like a Dawnblade Warlock might benefit from that.
Yeah, someone who's just trying to rush ahead, near the waves.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what I have used the one where your grenade and melee energy.
That's the energetic assassin. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have used that
That'd
one.
be
in
great
the
for a
past
hunter. Yeah.
On occasion. But I think Vampiric Touch is the one that, is almost like always the one, but then every now and again, based on, because I think sometimes it's related to the bounties that you can get, because there's going to be different bounties.
Oh, good point.
And
like
so,
if you have to
like,
get melee kills, you could change your mod.
Or grenade kills in the
right.
haunted
That's a
forest,
good point, Salliebug.
then using that mod because it's regenerating faster might be a good way to go. So I think that's when I put those on. So you just have the Vampiric Touch on for, like your basic runs, because you're just trying to get the loot at the end. But if you're going for a specific bounty, you might want one of the other two.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the subtle tweaks that they're making here, because the two biggest ones that I'm seeing that will affect my gameplay is the fact that these mods don't need to be upgraded anymore. Because it used to be that it was 3 tiers, because there were 3 perks for each mod, and it used to be that you had to like slowly work your way up to finally unlocking the increased drop chance of heavy ammo. And that was just kind of, as a casual player, I didn't usually finish upgrading those mods.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I did.
If I ever did, it was like towards the end of the
frame.
Yeah, it was always towards the end of the event.
Right.
And but also the way that they're
get the benefit because it's towards the end.
Yeah. And the way that they're introducing the cipher decoder and having farmable loot, but the cipher decoder specifically is encouraging us to not only grind the haunted forest, which was the one complaint that you would see, but I mean, you'll always see complaints, but then people say, like, I've been just playing haunted forest for a month, and it's the only thing I do. I log in and I do it. But now, like, you get just as rewarded with all those quests, with all those chests at the end, if you do a couple strikes, and then you hop into the haunted forest, and then you play a couple Crucible matches.
Is the number of chests still related to how far you get? How many terrors you've taken down?
Yes, you can
in a certain amount of time.
5.
Okay.
But you have to have
But in addition, you have to have ciphers to open them. Or is it just all the chests are there, and depending on how many cipher decoders you have, depends on how many chests you can open. Maybe it's not related. That doesn't make sense.
Because didn't it used to be related to, like, how many you could open was related to
how far you got.
How far you got?
Yes.
Yeah, you would just keep repeating, and I think now you just... I don't know. It's going to be interesting, because it does sound like there's, like, a fundamental shift in the way it's going to work.
I like it.
Because
I wish that the horror story and the Braytech werewolf...
You just kept running. You'd kill the boss at the end, and then you would run through again, and then when you ran out of time, how many chests you opened was based on how many times you got
branches
to a boss.
You completed. Yeah.
And
something
now
like
it seems like there's a set amount of time you just play through, and the chests that you open at the end are related to how many ciphers you have, so it's a little that's a little different. At least that's the way I'm interpreting it, so it'll be interesting once we get in there.
Stegos, you were going to say something about the auto rifles, the horror story, and the Braytech werewolf?
Oh, yeah. I wish they weren't both 450 RPM.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Auto rifles. Because it felt like the Braytech werewolf was like a redo of the horror story, and now that they're both available, I wish that there was a little bit more distinction between the two, is all. But I love those auto rifles.
Well, and I think that's kind of going to be our next segment, right? But prior to that next segment, talking about farming for a god roll, I think it's time for a coffee break, or at least for me, it's time for a coffee break. I don't know about any. I definitely.
This coffee break has been brought to you by the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. Bottoms up. All right. So why don't you kick off the conversation, Salliebug, about God rolls and the God roll grind for these, as it applies to these auto rifles in preparation for Beyond Light. And I will refill our coffees. How's that sound?
That sounds like a great
All right.
deal.
I'll BRB.
So, my initial opinion is, and I have been part of the, let's get the perfect God roll. I think I even downloaded an app, and I don't remember the name of it, so I'm going to look on my phone really quickly so that we can give a shout out to it. Gosh, I thought it was in here, and I can't find it.
Y'all, please hold for the pending shout out to an app. There's an app. It's worthy of a shout out.
There's an app, and now I can't find it, so I can't. Little Light, I think it's called.
Little Light.
Light.
That seems like they're trying to piggyback off of the wild success of Light GG.
Possibly.
It could be their app version of their website. Anyway, go ahead. Give them a shout out. Let's hear it.
I think it's Little Light, but at any rate, it's one where you can put in your weapon, and it shows you, and you can compare all of yours, and it lets you know, at least among the opinions of others, whether or not that particular gun is a God roll or not. And here's the thing. I have actually a couple of Gnawing Hungers, and I've compared them in this app, and one is supposedly a God roll for PvP, one is supposedly a God roll for, or a good roll for PvE. I don't really notice that much of a difference.
I will say the biggest perk that I look for, because I do notice a difference, is Arrowhead Break for the barrel perk. Because that significantly improves the recoil direction of a weapon. So it'll take it from kind of kicky to very consistent, like almost straight up and down.
Yeah. So there's a few rolls that I would actually specifically farm for, like dynamic sway reduction, especially for an auto rifle or a submachine gun, so that you've got that extra stability. Also, the stability masterwork is a nice thing to farm for. But for a casual player, for the end, I get it. For the casual player, the end game isn't something that we necessarily are exposed to as much, right? We're not looking for that end game.
Yeah. You don't need 100 on every assignment. Sometimes just a good enough grade is good enough. The same thing for our guns here. If it gets a good enough grade, then I'll use it.
Right. So I get a horror story, and I get a Braytech werewolf, and I look at the perks on it, and it's like, those are pretty good. But I don't know. I mean, for me, I haven't, as a casual player, I really truly haven't, except for, like you said, there's a couple, Arrowhead Break being one of them. Target Adjuster is always good for me because I'm not a very good aim. the stability any of the stability perks for auto rifle and submachine guns. But other than that, like all the others are just, well, I mean, obviously the reload perks and the ones that give extra damage are nice, are kind of nice to have. And that's basically what it is. They're nice to have, but if I don't have them, I don't feel like it necessarily, like this gun's trash without it type of feeling.
Yes.
I feel like a gun is either good or not good, right? Like the 900, like I think the crappiest roll you could get for a 900, that gun is still really good.
So do you guys think that God rolls or certain perks on the weapons compensate for a shifted meta, perhaps? So like this gun would only be used, like the scout rifles are in a bad place now, as far as I know. But if you get a scout rifle with the right perks, it's actually viable in the current meta. It's actually useful. I don't know if I've experienced that, really.
No, I would say that the overall archetype differences in the sandbox changes have a much greiter effect.
Yeah, that's what that's my feeling of it as well.
Yeah. So I'd say you're finding yourself in an uphill battle trying to use, if you're specifically talking about the Crucible, if you're using anything but a 600 RPM auto rifle, you're just playing with a handicap. And there isn't that big of a difference between one 600 RPM auto rifle and the next. Yes, if you get one with arrowhead brake and tap the trigger and dynamic sway reduction, and if you're playing on console, stability masterwork, then that's going to be the top tier. But it's going to take it from like a 95 to 100, basically.
Right.
It'll edge out duels where it's one like weapon to another like weapon, but I'd say that a janky 600 or auto will beat any other gun like anytime.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess that's where it's like, because a lot of times like this farming for the God roll is, it seems more related to being able to reduce the time to kill. And if that is the case, if you're reducing the time to kill, like when are you mostly looking for reduced time to kill would be if you're in a PvP match, right? Because if you could get the other guardian down quicker without dying yourself, right? That's the whole point of it.
Right.
And since I really don't indulge in PvP.
Yeah. I think that, like, and the problem with these balancing perks has been difficult, and I think we're going to see they're really going to shake it up, I think, in Beyond Light. And for example, you get these perk metas, like you're always looking for the perk meta as of late has been reload and damage perks, right?
Right.
And guns with reload and damage perks are the best, so that's what you go for, and you shard everything, you dismantle everything else. But I'm one of those players who really likes to explore other combos and outside the meta, because I feel like the developers have given us this playground to really try to find a place for like an elemental capacitor perk. Where can that really shine? In what situations and in what activities and with what build around it, right? What else are you, what do you got in your other slots? What do you have as armor? What are your armor perks? What exotics are you sporting, So, I feel like the intention isn't just to go. They don't. I think you got to. If you're a developer over at Bungie, you're kind of like, oh, they're just going for the reload damage perks. What do we do about that? Because we've created this sandbox and we want people to have fun in it and explore different builds and things. And there are a few content creators who do that, who specialize in these really cool builds that nobody else has thought of, and styles of play, and you adjust your style of play to it, and they're willing to invest the time into that, because it takes a while to practice to get it to work.
Well, it's
really
kind of
well.
part of their, it's kind of part of their content. Is that
I love
what
that
they do.
stuff. That's what I like about it. So
and they kind of say, well, we're going to do this for you, so here, try combining this subclass, with this tree, with this grenade, with this exotic, and then these weapons with these particular perks on them. So that, that's their job, is they're doing that so that we can watch them do that. And then they say, try this out and see what you like. But there are so many different combinations that it is kind of fun to just like put different things on and see what works best for your play style. So
yeah,
playing what's fun for me is greater than playing just to max KDA. That's from Funny Bone in the chat, and I'm in agreement. I think that's the same thing. So,
and I think that's what Destiny's about. Yeah.
Right, and I'm going back to what you were saying, Stego. Sometimes it's just fun to have Firefly on a gun and watch them explode. It's just fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily Firefly is a great perk because it's fun, and especially if you can get Firefly to proc when a bunch of Thrall are popping out at you and you watch them explode. It's great, but it's not considered a top tier perk, but it's a fun perk for sure.
Yeah. It's and that's why we play, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
We don't want it to
Sometimes I feel
work,
it's more
right?
of a survival thing, just to deal with life, rather than to have fun. It's just to hold on to dear life. I need to play video games for an hour just to get through the day, or whatever. For me personally, it's like Linus's blanket.
Don't want it to feel. Once it starts feeling like work and feel like you have to do your homework and grind for something specific to get something done.
I think the coffee analogy, Sally, that we were talking about is apt. Sometimes there's different levels of coffee drinking. Sometimes it's just to wake up, and other times it's to relax with and enjoy and savor. And there's various products out there. Energy drinks contain caffeine, but it's a whole different experience than drinking coffee. And so there's a utility to playing a video game that, for me personally, I have really bad ringing in my ears, and playing video games is the only relief I have found for that. So for me, sometimes it's just relief, and it is to have fun, but I think most of the time it is ultimately about having fun. But with a game like Destiny, it goes beyond fun. Sometimes it's more of community as well. Hooking up with friends and catching up and chatting and stuff like that. So, which is fun.
Yeah.
Which is fun, but it's also a necessity, right? It's like food or drink or whatever. So,
that's
it's our choice of entertainment.
Especially in these times, is so important. Just to be able to stay connected with others.
Absolutely.
So.
I think we need to move beyond the God roll, schmod roll discussion and if nothing else, in the name of time, get into our lore segment that we've been talking about all week. Yes. What do you think, Salliebug? Should I introduce it?
Yeah, introduce it.
All right, I'm going to introduce the lore section. Just a reminder, folks in chat, let's keep it clean. Too much positivity, it can be just as bad as too much. I can't go through with it. I can't say it. I can't do it with a straight face. Anyway, Paracasual Destiny Podcast presents Touch of Grimoire. Take it away, Salliebug.
So, being that we are approaching Festival of the Lost, I decided to do some digging into the grimoire and the lore on Eva Levante. So I thought we would talk a little bit about her and her character in reading her lore book that is available. You can read that on Ishtar Collective all in one place. You probably can get to it. Can you get to it in game? Sooltime? I don't even know. But all that being said, in reading her book, Eva's Journey, found out that she was dubbed Abuela, or grandmother.
Grandmother, yes.
To from the citizens that she was leading and protecting during the Red War, during that Red Legion invasion, and so that was it was kind of like an interesting, almost just like a side story of kind of what happened to her, because she wasn't around for like a year or so, and then she kind of made an appearance back. She was a permanent fixture in D1. She was our vendor for Emblems End. Was it Emblems End?
Shaders.
Shaders.
It was. I know. Probably the biggest Eva Levante fan in our clan, besides Pelham, of course, would be Fractious Heart, aka Romance Girl. I think.
And she actually just asked, is it Ava or Eva? I always heard her say Ava when she was pronouncing her name. But I could be wrong. I thought it was Ava.
Yeah.
With an A.
Now I don't know.
Instead of E.
Stego?
I remember a long E sound. Old Eva.
Eva. Which would suggest
I could have that wrong then. I'm gonna listen to it carefully.
We can rule out Eva, right? It's not Eva Levante.
I don't know. Look at the name, Eva Levante. Wouldn't you think that she has like a
well, Abuela is Spanish, so it's Hispanic, right?
Well, she was called Abuela because one of the guardians who had lost his light, that kind of traveled around with her on her journey, and they kind of helped bring back to health. And before he got his light back, his name was Ramos. See, there we go again. Ramos. And he called her Abuela. So
okay.
It made
Ramos,
he was of Hispanic origin, so he might have called her Abuela, but others might have just called her grandmother.
For some reason I always thought Eva Levante was it might be Eva Levante, and I would trust Fractious Heart on this one. She's got a good ear for this. I would trust
her as well.
So Eva, right, so and Eva makes it more sort of Eastern European origins, perhaps. We don't
possibly
know. Okay.
So what I like that they've done with this character is, like, she was like in D1, she was basically just what they kind of dubbed the seamstress for the tower. She was all about the fashion and equipping the Guardians with the best shaders for their fashion. But they've kind of expanded her role, since shaders kind of come from a different source now. They expanded her role to be like, she's the character that just says, okay, with all this chaos that's going on around us, we need to kind of remember our traditions, and that these traditions are a way of centering us and remembering, remember, like Festival of the Lost, remembering those that we've lost. And then the dawning, is a whole different celebration. And obviously these are related to the same holidays that we celebrate in real life. But I like that they have this character who's in one of the lore segments I read, which I don't think was in Eva's journey. I think it was something from the Dawning, where she was trying to get Ikora to make that beautiful crystal that she makes behind her.
Oh yeah.
And I
can't wait for that.
Ikora is always just a little hesitant to do it, but she always ends up saying yes in the end, because she knows Eva is going to bug her until she does anyway. And that one of the things is that, so this is from the Dawning, and I know we're straying from Festival of the Lost, but so Eva is going to Ikora to say, are you going to get this crystal up or not, type of thing. And she's got an assistant with her. Mm-hmm. I do not remember the name of the assistant in this lore segment, but Ikora's like, yeah, and she kind of throws her hands up and the crystal appears, and Eva's assistant drops to her knees.
This is biblical.
Awe, and has tears streaming down her face.
Oh, it's very Mary Magdalene-like.
And I think what the idea behind it was, it's like Ikora's kind of like just not really fully understanding how sometimes these traditions and making things beautiful is just what people need to try to kind of keep on keeping on, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? It's like we do these traditions, like why do we decorate our house with orange? And I was thinking about that, especially in the midst of COVID. It's like, why bring out the Halloween bucket and string up orange and purple lights?
Yeah, nobody's
going to
see it.
Pumpkins is like, nobody's going to see it, but I'm going to see it. And if it's going to make my life just a little happier, just to get through a day, just because nobody's coming over to my house, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. And sometimes we need to do those things and do those rituals. So that's what Eva's role is.
Yeah. Take some of the players' minds off of, there's more to life than elo farming, right? In the Crucible, you go see Eva and bake some cookies, have some candy, and enjoy the sort of the nuances. Slow down and smell the roses, and embrace the community. She sort of represents the community, I think, in Destiny. Honestly, she's sort of like
and it's just like, sometimes we just need to take a break from, like you said, the elo farming. Sometimes you just take a break from staying kind of like focused on what gun am I going to get and what role am I going to get and how am I going to do all of this, and just kind of do something fun that's related to, that has a theme. And I like it. I kind of like where they went with her. And if you haven't read Eva's Journey, I would highly recommend it. It's
can we link to it in the description when we upload this?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I read it through Ishtar Collective.
Sure. We'll link to Ishtar Collective, which is just great for all things lore, right?
And it's a nice story of how she how she navigated through the Red War and what brought her back finally. And
yeah, we thought she was dead for a little while there, and then we got confirmation that she was still alive somewhere.
Nobody was quite sure where she was. They hadn't heard from her in a while, and so you will learn all about that by reading her book. I don't want to give it away, but I highly recommend it. It does give you a little more respect for her and kind of what her general nature is. So
let's hope she doesn't suffer in Beyond Light the same fate as our dear friend Cade 6 did in Forsaken. All right. Stego, do you think that's a chance that we might have to say goodbye to our beloved Eva Levante?
I would really hope not. She spent much time out of the tower. Mm-hmm. It was so heartwarming to see that she had indeed survived the Red War, and I don't know where she was all that time for that first, was it a year?
Read her book. Read her journey book. It'll tell you.
I'm excited. I'd like to.
Yeah.
Me too. So I'm excited.
My guess is going to be that she's going to be around. I think she'll be around. I think we'll have the dawning with her, and especially since we're losing quite a few kind of main characters, right? We know that at least based on a little bit of what's been built up, Asher Mir may be gone, and Sloane may be gone. We're not, and Brother Vance, nobody's going to lose any sleep over that. But
whoa, hello. Sheesh, y'all. Okay, before we say goodbye to Eva Levante and move into our brand new Sounds of Destiny segment, let's just go around the round table here and chat. If you would put in your 2 cents as well. Favorite dawning cookie that you had to bake with Eva Levante? Do you have one, Salliebug?
I would think, why are we doing the dawning instead of saying what our favorite mask is?
Because cookies are good.
Ah, I see. I don't remember the names of the cookies.
Boo.
Oh.
Stego, do you remember any cookies?
I remember the names of some of them.
But I not your favorite one.
Are there chocolate chip cookies?
Chocolate chip.
Instead of chocolate chip cookies?
Okay. All right. Stego?
So I remember the name of one of them. I don't remember the names of all of them. So I'd have to...
You would only remember the name of your favorite. And that was what my question was. So...
All right. Well, I guess there we go then.
Stego, do you have a favorite that you actually remember?
As a fan of spiced cookies,
yes,
I think that I would be most eager to try the sci-fi variant of the Snickerdoodle, the Gallerdoodle.
I love it. I forgot about the Gallerdoodle.
Fortune cookie.
I almost like, not quite as much, but I almost like Devram K as much as I love Eva Levante. So I'm going to go with the Gentleman's Shortbread. Because in IRL, I love shortbread cookies. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's good
shortbread.
Yeah. Anything in chat? Did anybody?
We got the ill fortune cookie.
Ill fortune
Funny
cookie.
Bone has not weighed in.
Probably because he's never baked a cookie.
I don't think anyone else is in the chat right now. So.
All right, let's move on then.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with the dawning and whether or not we'll be baking cookies again.
Yes.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Will we be making aren't there some like moat cookies for the Drifter? I forget.
Yes. Yeah. I think the Drifter had
there's dark moat cookies.
Dark moat. Yeah.
Yeah. So
all right, I'm going to introduce the final segment of this podcast, episode 12 of the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or otherwise comment, and tell us who you are and what you do with yourself. Anyway, Paracasual Destiny Podcast presents The Sounds of Destiny, and this week we are taking a look at Festival of the Lost music. In particular, I'm going to play the 1 minute and 4 second piece of music written by the great Michael Salvatori and his sidekick over there at the Destiny Music Factory, Sky Lewin. And can we get an image up of the two? There they are. That's Michael Salvatori on the left and Sky Lewin on the right. Both of these gentlemen, Michael Salvatori was a colleague of Marty O'Donnell, who, of course, did the Halo music, the famous Halo music, and Sphere. Oh gosh, I can't remember the opus. The name of the opus for Destiny 1, but the two of them collaborated on Destiny 1 along with Paul McCartney, which we will save for a later Sounds of Destiny segment. But these two have since taken over most of the, and there's other contributors too. We don't want to go without congratulating them, but these guys have been the backbone to what we've experienced in Destiny 2 in terms of soundtrack. And man, have they done some really impressive good work. So let's have a listen to the Festival of the Lost. I chose the Tower music. I think there might be some other Tower tracks as well, but this is the one that I remember most. Let's give a listen. Whoops, wrong one. Let's give a listen. Fantastic ending there on that low note. But Salliebug and Stego, were you able to give that a listen? Because they can't hear the sound that I'm putting through as of yet. We haven't figured out the setup for that. But
I did not. I should have just muted and listened to it on the live stream.
Yeah, that's what I did. It was a little bit delayed, but
okay.
Oh my gosh, I am so much more in the mood for October and Halloween right now.
Yeah.
I wish that I didn't have more work to do immediately after this, because I want to throw up as many Halloween decorations as I can. I want to download that MP3 file and I want to play it on loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other songs too that people have extracted and put in playlists and given them names. I don't know if we know the official names. And like I said, we're pretty sure that it's Michael Salvatori. And on that particular piece, I know Sky Lewin contributes a lot. He was credited on one video, but not on another. And so, but I'm going to give them both credit for that little ditty that I really love. And it like you, it puts me in the mood for Festival of the Lost. And it always reminded me of the theme song to an old show from, I believe, the 1960s, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which was kind of like a British version of The Twilight Zone. And it solidified Alfred Hitchcock as sort of the master of macabre at the time, and sort of like almost like a Stephen King type with his movies, famous movies like The Birds and Vertigo and other great movies. He was a great movie director, but he had like a TV series called Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and they used a song by a French composer, a 19th century French composer named Charles. What was his name? I don't know my classic. I don't know my classic music. My classical music. It's Charles Gounod is the name of the composer, and he composed a tune called "Funeral March of the Marionette," and it's a funeral march. And Alfred Hitchcock used a version of it for his show. And you can hear, like, about halfway through the Festival of the Lost Tower music, you can hear the snare drum comes in and really solidifies the fact that this is definitely a march. And I feel like it's in the spirit of this classic tune. So I'm going to play a little bit of that for our listeners to hear, see if they recognize this as an influence like I do or not. Here it is, The Funeral March of a Marionette by Charles Gounod. It had a really long sort of, sparse intro there before it got into the actual tune. But let's listen to the television series interpretation of that song, which is what I originally related the Festival of the Lost theme to. This is the Alfred Hitchcock theme.
Good evening.
And if you notice the very end before Alfred Hitchcock says good evening, it's got the exact same ending that they put in the Festival of the Lost. Let me just go to that again. Here we go. The exact same ending. I love that. So I feel like it was a nod to the Alfred Hitchcock theme, which certainly Michael Salvatori is of the age. Michael Salvatori is of the age to remember such a program. Any thoughts from you guys? I don't know if you had the chance to listen to those, the Funeral March of the Marionette.
I did. I actually did the right thing that time and muted and listened to it. And,
awesome.
Yeah, I hear it. I definitely hear the influence, and I want to say it gives me those same vibes. I kind of thought that like you kind of like solidified it by doing this segment here, but I remember hearing that originally and having that thought, and yeah, you definitely solidifies. Like, where have I heard that? What have I um how do I know that music?
I think there's been other things. I did actually research a little bit because I hear other tunes like that, but I think like they go back to even earlier than Alfred Hitchcock, people borrowing on that sort of minor key with like an oboe or a clarinet and a march type thing to give a feeling of almost like murder mystery. You hear it used in those sort of that sort of media, or that sort of vibe is like a murder mystery thing. Like I feel like Disney has used that theme as well in some of their soundtracks.
Right.
But yeah. So with that, Stego, do you have any comments on the Festival of the Lost soundtrack?
It was like a history of music and music appreciation, a fantastic homage and project. I definitely heard the influence. We're all in the same family with the with that funeral march of the marionette, very appropriately titled, and that's a deep cut with the Alfred Hitchcock Presents. But
yeah.
I definitely hear it.
I kind of want to go back and watch an episode of it because I saw it when I was a little kid, when it was in syndication maybe, but it's been so long I can't even really remember what it was. It seems to me it's like little vignettes, sort of like Twilight Zone or Outer Limits or one of those shows. But anyway, with a British flavor, of course, because it's Alfred Hitchcock, right? But I'm sure he used all sorts of actors in it. Yeah. Are we ready to wrap it up? Put another one in the archive?
We're ready to give this a wrap up. I do want to say that I totally appreciated the addition to the music appreciation. At the end. I think there is so much that goes into this game that we love, that we kind of like don't always take the time to appreciate, and it's definitely it's nice to have that piece of just saying, we know that part of our experience and part of our love of this game is all of these things that are happening in the background, and it's nice that we can kind of give a shout out to these composers who are just making our experience that much more enjoyable.
I think a little underrated too, and the sound crew for Destiny. I know they talk about this, Ebontis and his podcast, they always talk about, that's The Last Word, a little plug for The Last Word. They always talk about how underappreciated the sounds of Destiny are, at least in terms of public recognition, like on awards, video game awards perspective, that they're not really given because it's so above and beyond. It sticks out to them anyway, and to me too, with my limited experience of
the sounds of I mean, we don't play many other shooter games, but I think the sounds,
just the sounds of the guns alone,
the individual guns,
everything, the sounds of everything
to the experience of when you're shooting something, or of one of the, I can hear it when you shoot one of the harpies and the sound it makes when it kind of explodes.
Yeah,
it's all part of it. It's amazing. It's like no other, for sure.
Yep. All right.
So you could do a whole podcast on the music sounds of Destiny. Well, hopefully we'll just add a little bit every time for every segment. We'll just take on another one because there is so much to it. So
Sounds of
this
Destiny.
Was great.
Awesome.
What a great way to kick off my weekend.
Yes, as always. This is a really good way to start it, isn't it? It looks like a beautiful fall day. Absolutely. Stego, you guys enjoy your day down there, and we'll reconvene next week at the same time. Shout outs to Funny Bone and Fractious Heart, as always, for their invaluable input into this project. And you can look for us on Twitter at ParacasualP, on YouTube here if you're watching us broadcast live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Consider a like, subscribe, or comment on Twitter or YouTube. Reach out to us. Why not? Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
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 Good evening.